Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be in this time and space world that we are in. Welcome and happy that you are here. I am Janet Weissman, and I am here with
Carlos Felipe.
And we are here for episode 18 of I Am Practically Spiritual podcast. So, of course, I first want to mention that today's episode is again sponsored by the Love Ladders. We are very grateful. It's a collection of jewelry and small sculptural works where every piece shines as a reminder of love's true presence. We're also grateful for the support of the Forgiveness Piece, and it's a sculptural project devoted to forgiveness. I think you've heard that term before. And we're going ahead and invite you to visit theloveladders.com and theforgivenesspiece.com to discover the very many ways to express being practically spiritual. There's a coupon code, spiritual, all caps, to receive 25% discount. And I know Mother's Day is almost here, but it's not too late to go and find a perfect, loving piece of jewelry or sculpture.
They are beautiful.
They really are. They're very meaningful as well. So, but here we are, episode 18, Chai in Hebrew, and Chai means life. And we are here diligently in studying these lessons, and we will certainly have a new life and a new thought system.
Yes, and here I would like Janet to mention, because now we are 1/3 through the course, and for me, looking at these lessons and preparing for today's episode, I see how fundamental they are. We're going to a deeper level about all the different lessons, the forgiveness, how to do it operationally. We're going to a different level. So I invite you, to really look at these lessons and see the meaning of it, because I think we're entering a new part.
A new part, definitely. And, we want to get there. We truly want to get there. Now, there isn't just one specific theme in this week's lessons, but they all do flow together, because that's how this wonderful curriculum works. That, as I say, they weave together for our spiritual tapestry. And we're going to start, though, with two familiar ideas, forgiveness and happiness. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Lesson 121. Forgiveness is not only the key to happiness, as we, have been taught already, but it can actually answer all the questions we have ever or will have, and it will resolve all perceived fear thoughts. The repetitive phrase, and many of the lessons have, in this lesson, is the unforgiving mind. And the lesson explains how an unforgiving mind has caused so much dismay and uncertainty. An unforgiving mind is basically living in hell and knows no way out of the situation. The unforgiving mind does not question because it believes this hell is real. Without the thought of questioning, nothing has the possibility of change. That's so important.
It is, to mention that is about how we question things. It's so important at this point.
Right, and there's many places where the Course tells us about raising the question up to the level of questioning, the problem, rather, raise it up to questioning. We can, however, acquire forgiveness, which opens up the possibility of changing our experience here. Forgiveness is not part of the one mind that has never judged, and without judgment, forgiveness is not required. But we have been given a teacher who is aware of our need, and as we learn to forgive, we will return to the one whole mind, of which we are already a part of that, and we return to the awareness of heaven. Heaven is not a place, it's an awareness. And the practicing for this lesson follows a format, that we've used before and probably will again. And we think of someone who's considered a friend, and then one who is not. And then the goal of the exercises, because, this is a workbook, is to be able to see the light in both. And I've offered another way to practice, and that is to use the same person. Because after all, we have probably had mixed feelings about that same person. So let's try to heal those contradictory thoughts and get back to the wholeness. We want a healed relationship. Lesson 122, forgiveness offers everything I want. The first paragraph of this lesson completely states the case for practicing forgiveness. Anything we have ever wanted or desired is provided by practicing forgiveness. Happiness, a quiet mind, a sense of worth, beauty beyond this world, all are given. Safety, sure protection, undisturbed quietness, gentleness, and a perfect rest are all provided with forgiveness. And there's more, according to the lesson. So why would I not practice forgiveness and then recommend it to others, to everyone? And there's no other way to achieve all of these qualities promised by forgiveness. There is not one egoic thought that can ever offer anything close to what forgiveness gives us. So just in lesson 121, we were instructed that the key to happiness comes through forgiveness. All that is provided by forgiveness, certainly. There are moments of happiness. But wait, there's more.
Even more.
There's more.
Wow.
And these are not just momentary glimpses of happiness. These are actual stepping stones that bring us to heaven. Forgiveness is the way we come to salvation, freedom, joy, bliss. As the lesson instructs, here is the answer. The awareness of heaven has appeared to replace all thoughts of hell. Forgiveness offers all of this. A new world to see and experience will be offered to us, and that world, it's filled with light. So, lesson 123, I thank my Father for his gifts to me. We're in the month of May, and yet it's Thanksgiving. Truly, every day is one of thanks and gratitude. Today we are offering thanks for the many gifts that have been given by our source.
Even if we haven't opened those gifts, they
Even
are there.
exactly, they're there.
They're
we
there.
we haven't gotten to the wrapping paper, but they're there. These are eternal, changeless, and real gifts. As we realize the nature of these gifts, we indeed become very grateful. We have been saved from the illusion of the little self we made. We have been saved from believing we were abandoned because we thought we had wandered away from home. We have been given a guide and a teacher to direct our footsteps and who will always be by our side. There are many reasons for gratitude today. We are messengers of God today and extend the messages we have heard and then receive them back hundreds of times more than what was given. This is truly a day of thankfulness, even without the turkey, or the mashed potatoes, whatever. Lesson 124, let me remember I am one with God. Okay, I've said this so many times in my classes that ACIM can be described as a course in remembering. And the truth is we do already know what this course is teaching us. In the moment of our creation, the knowledge from God's whole mind was shared with us. We've forgotten it, but deep within our mind, the truth is still there. And all we need to do is remember. Let me remember I am one with God as I was and always have been. We remember God in our ever-present companion. And as we walk this world, we leave little traces of light that, we share with those who came before us or, are with us now. And all of those have done that as well, these little light edges. God has always loved all of his children equally, and today we will not doubt that fact. And today is a day to behold what is loving and lovable, and you are loving and lovable, and everything else is denied today. We deny what is false and affirm what is true. So today, for the practicing, the course actually does say meditate. Which it doesn't use that word often. And as we go into that quiet space, we will be with our Creator. This is one of those places when we're told that certainty will dawn upon our mind. We don't know exactly when, but it will occur. And perhaps today, perhaps tomorrow. So.
And it's in your mind. That's so important for me, that state.
Yes.
In your mind.
So, which is a good place for it to be, actually. So lesson 25, in quiet, I receive God's word today. Receiving God's word, his promise, is not for only the one who's listening. It's for everyone, because there is that equality of ACIM. His peace is to be heard and shared around this world, because we are all meant to have God's peace. The lesson says this world will change through you. We will have a lesson in a very few months that tells us salvation of the world depends on me. Yes, the message is consistent. We have already said it's impossible for one child of God to be happy and the rest to be unhappy. That is why we wait in quiet to hear God's voice speak to us. And the radiance of this message will be shared to all. It does not matter that some of us have wandered away. We are still worthy of hearing his voice, but we must get quiet to listen and release the meaningless, dead thoughts, which are ego thoughts. In paragraph 7, there's a lovely line that says, he speaks from nearer than your heart to you. And this is a beautiful way to remember how close our celestial Father is to us. It's only our only requirement for all of this is stillness. Lesson 126, all that I give is given to myself.
I think this lesson is key. Yeah. This is one of my favorites.
It's one of your favorites. You see, we all have favorites. If we truly understood this idea, all behavior and thoughts would change. That's what the lesson tells us. Salvation would be realized. This lesson then describes in detail how we believe how forgiveness works from the ego mind perspective. The ego believes in separateness in all things, and no one actually deserves to be forgiven. Okay? In fact, there's no real reason to forgive from the ego's point of view. It's basically an undeserved gift we give. But it's actually a bargain from the ego point of view, because we will expect repayment in the future. Remember when I forgave you for that horrible thing you did?
That went into your account.
That went into your account. It's time for repayment. Forgiveness actually has no meaning when it's seen that way. Forgiveness, such as the ego presents, is a very shaky premise for salvation to rest upon. True forgiveness begins within our own mind. It heals the mind that gives it and the mind that receives it. The power of forgiveness is that it cleanses all thoughts. It tears down those walls of grievances that have been erected to the ego mind and by the ego mind. In truth, the giver of forgiveness and the receiver are one. So let's be willing to learn this today. And now lesson 127. There is no love but God's. Okay, so it's an amazing lesson, and it's our next giant stride. Okay, we haven't had one for a few weeks. This is a great one. It's a great giant stride. Okay, can you tell I like it? This lesson corrects our thinking about love. In this world, we have believed there are different kinds of love for different situations. And we cannot possibly love our family in the same way that we love our pets. Can we? Well, aren't they different? You might be surprised to learn the answer is there is only one love. Bob Marley was right? One love, one heart, one mind. You see, like anything that is of the eternal, there is no opposite or factions, parts, no different parts, no pieces. Love is love is love. The only real love, and remember from the introduction, only love is real. And that's the introduction to the whole book, not just from the workbook. Only love is real, and it comes from a whole mind. And there are no kinds or levels, no divergencies, no distinctions. Love is changeless. It does not come and go. When we say, I don't love you anymore, the truth is we never did. Love is changeless. Truth is changeless. God's laws are changeless. And looking at love in these new terms, it might be very difficult to understand. We may not realize how we have separated love. And in doing so, we have lost our true self. This is a giant step towards understanding what love really is and how we are part of it. With this lesson, we want to begin to understand the wholeness and the oneness of what love truly is. With this beginning of understanding, we leave the past behind and look to the bright future. These are amazing lessons.
They are
okay,
indeed.
but wait, there's more. The lessons next week are equally amazing and thought-shifting, and there's at least one more giant stride
Coming up, that's a surprise.
coming up. Yes.
But going back to where we began, Janet, I think these lessons being part of this new section, again, invite us to take a deeper look
Yeah.
and to see forgiveness, how important that is an angular stone, right? How would you tell us to kind of look at things? And then one thing that we had said also at the beginning was to maybe begin questioning everything, right?
Right.
How would you advise us to put in practice, to look at our forgiveness, let's say, practice?
Well, there is another teacher, spiritual teacher. I don't know that she practices or is part of ACIM, but she has a very distinct phrase. It's Byron Katie, and when the situation is going on, she instructs in her counseling to say, "Is it real?" Okay. So when we look at a situation that is bothersome to us, we can look at it and say, is it real? Is what am I seeing that may not be real? Of course, we can go back to, one of our lessons, I think 34, that, there's another way of looking at this. I can see peace instead of this. Question. We have to question because, we've just taken in everything that the ego has presented to us and that, oh yeah, that's true. But none of it lasts. And that's really the key. If things are constantly shifting and changing and going away, they probably weren't real to begin with, because what's real is going to stay. So I get to raise up my thoughts about anything to the level of questioning. And I can say, is it real? Is there another way to look at this? And in doing that, I'm opening up a door to have the possibility of the questioning and to allow something else to come in. Maybe there's another way to look at this. There probably is. There usually always is. But if my mind is closed, I'm not going to receive that. I'm not going to even consider that. This is what is real.
If you're closed up.
Right. So,
That's great.
Yeah, the Course talks a lot about, opening our mind, opening our hearts.
Yeah. Additional to that, one thing that also came to me was about the gifts that we have inside. They are inside of us, and how powerful we are. And that, for me, takes me to our thoughts that we have and how powerful they are.
They are
and
very
how
powerful.
we have to
Yes.
also be aware of, also questioning, but then be aware of our thoughts. Mm-hmm. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. Learning to watch our thoughts becomes very important, and it is indeed very powerful. I've said many times, I think already in this podcast, but in classes and workshops, science has proven that we have 62,000 thoughts that go through our head every single day. If we can get to start to quiet that mind, go into stillness, as the practicing for this course is, when we go into the stillness and we quiet our mind, we are doing such a service to ourselves, because if my mind is chaotic, I can't watch my thoughts. They're coming too fast. It's
And that, I think, in closing, because wrapping it up, is we have to be aware of those, because in giving we receive, and we have to be aware of those thoughts,
Right.
because those
You
will
know.
come back to us and will
Right.
affect our life.
Right. Take a breath. We smile at the end. We say smile and breathe.
That's
Taking
key.
a deep breath.
Absolutely.
And that in and of itself can be like a mini meditation, and we quiet the mind with the breath. We can only do one thing at a time. Forget this multitasking.
Yeah.
It's a lie. It's a scam. Okay.
It is.
But if we're focusing on a nice deep breath, it just quiets everything
Game
down,
changer.
which brings us
Let's
to
do the end.
smile and breathe.
See you next time, guys. Thank you for being here.